Hey everybody, in today's video I want to show you some absolutely beautiful, gorgeous chord voicings that you've probably heard used quite a bit but may not actually know the names of. These are things that you're going to hear in jazz piano, modern jazz, also neo soul and R&B, and potentially in other genres as well. These are some of my favorite sounds, and it actually took me until recently to know exactly how to name some of these. So I think you're really going to enjoy learning about what some of these chords are. I hope you find it really, really useful. Let's dive right into it. All right, so let's start out on the simpler side here. This is a sound that you're going to hear used quite a bit, but it's not often talked about. And that is the sound of a major 7 sus2 chord. It looks like this. It's a really, really beautiful chord. I love this sound. Literally all we're doing is taking a major 7 voicing. So in this case, let's look at C major 7. And instead of having the 3, we're actually going to add a 2 instead. The 2 replaces the 3. And you get that beautiful shape. And that shape, of course, is going to be a G major triad against a C. It sounds really pretty like this as well. I love moving this exact voicing around and keeping the intervals the same. So now this is E flat and now D flat. And this is actually a sound you'll hear in pop as well. So this voicing is really, really versatile. All right, number 2, building off of that sus2 is actually just the sus2 triad. So I showed you a major 7 voicing to start. In this case, we're just going to look at 1, 3, and 5. This is actually just going to be, instead of 1, 3, 5, it's going to be 1, 2, 5. Now, why am I showing you this? This is a great sound, great to resolve to the normal major triad, but a sound that we hear very, very often in jazz, gospel music especially as well, is actually putting this triad over the 3. So in this case, what we actually have is 1, 2, 5 on top, right? But then over is we have 3 in the bass. And such a beautiful sound. It works so great as a passing chord. So let's say, for example, we had C major to F major. Instead of doing root position C to F, we could do this kind of C first inversion triad to F. And then to make that sound a little more sophisticated, we do the C sus2 over E to F. One quick theoretical thing, you can also call this a C add 2 over 3. But I personally like to say sus2, to me the 2 does feel suspended, like it wants to resolve to the 3. And also because we're replacing the 3, to me saying sus2 really reiterates that we are replacing the 3 and holding that sus2 there. Now we can draw our first 2 chords together into a third sound here by doing 1, 2, 5, 7 over 3. So we actually have 3, 1, 2, 5, 7. Now, one way you could name this voicing would just be C major 9 over E. And that's because if we reordered the notes, we would have 1, 2, 3, 5, 7 like that. So it's like a C major 7, but we added a 9. That's the chord in perfect root position, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Personally, I like to actually write this chord as C major 7 sus2 over E. The reason being that is the most accurate representation of this exact voicing. So there's a great little lesson in here, which is sometimes you can leave more up to the interpretation of the musician. So I could write C major 9 over E, in which case the person could really play any combination of notes as long as it's a C major 9 over E. So we could do this voicing or like that. But if I write C major 7 sus2, to me that implies this exact shape. So if I write C major 7 sus2 over E, I feel like I get this exact voicing, and that's why I choose to write it that way. Another beautiful version of this voicing, so I'm giving you another bonus voicing in here, would just be to take the E from the top and put it down here. So now we actually have 3, 7, 1, 9, 5, really. Beautiful, beautiful voicing. Again, these are things you've probably heard, but may not have entirely understood theoretically. So hopefully this video is really, really helping with that. Also, a quick shout out, I have 2 things I want to let you know about. A lot of these voicings can actually be found in my Modern Piano Voicings Dictionary, which is a document that I put together with literally around 400 different voicings that you can choose from. You can use it to learn brand new voicings just going in. It's got all of my absolute favorites, best, most interesting different combinations of notes. So you can really go in there and just find really whatever voicing I could imagine you would need to either improve your playing, improve your vocabulary, etc. Or if you're interested in actually learning voicings in a specific context of a progression, I just recently released a beautiful product that I'm very proud of called Harmony Magic. That takes very specific voicings like this and puts them into chord progressions and sequences, just beautiful harmony movements that are really going to help you elevate your playing. And so whenever you're playing a song, you can use these sequences to really spice up the progression. For example, using the major sus2 sound, I have a sequence in there like this. And so on. Learning this sequence gives you actually a beautiful pattern that you can use with this specific voicing that you can insert into different songs or even use compositionally. So the links to both of those, of course, are in the description, and every single dollar you spend on those goes straight to helping me continue to make these videos and put out this content. So I really do truly appreciate you even just taking the time to check them out and see if they're things you would be interested in. I've also got a bundle available that is going to have all of your modern harmony needs solved, including the Voicings Dictionary and Harmony Magic. So again, you can find that all in the description. All right, let's get back to voicings. All right, here's another chord that I bet you've heard a ton and may not know the name of. It took me a while to actually learn theoretically what this chord was, despite using it for a really long time. So let's check out the sound. So maybe you already recognize this, but this is the sound of Phrygian. So we're actually playing here a chord called the sus4 flat 9 chord. So it's basically a dominant 7 sus4 chord, but with a flat 9 added. So from bottom to top, we would do 1, 4, 5, flat 7, flat 9. And again, it comes from the Phrygian scale. And so we get that beautiful sound. Now the voicing I showed you was this. It's actually 1, flat 9, 4, 5, flat 7. So we get that crunch on bottom. Something you'll hear a lot is actually just leaving out the flat 7. We get this sound with the octave built in, and we can move it around and it works great. Love that sound. All right, let me show you a couple really interesting voicings. These are actually directly from the Modern Piano Voicings Dictionary. Again, link in the description. All right, check these out. These are some of my favorites because I've heard them used a lot, but never quite pinned them with my ear and understood exactly what they were theoretically. So in doing this video, hopefully this allows you to actually learn the sound and apply it more specifically. So let's check it out. So this is really interesting because it is a C minor major sound, right? We have this built in. We have the flat 3, the 5, and the major 7. So that's C minor major 7. But what is this voicing? We have 1, 5, 9, flat 3, 6, and 7, and 11. So when you have a 6 and a 7, well, the 6 isn't a 6 because it's actually an extension. It's a 13. So this is actually just a C minor major 13. So you don't see that written all that often, right? Because you don't see a minor major chord written all the way up to the 13. But if you want this specific sound, that's what you would write. Now I want to show you another variation from the Voicings Dictionary, and this time what we're going to do is the following. I'm rolling it because my hand's not quite big enough to play the full thing by itself, but if I want to change the shape, I could bring the F down and do this. So So this is a really interesting sound because we have this flat 6 and a flat 7. Again, because we have the 7, that makes this a flat 13. So what we actually have is 1, 5, 9, flat 3, 11, flat 13, flat 7. And I would prefer to have the F on top. I like that sound better. Really, really pretty. Perfectly okay to roll the chord in my opinion. So 1, 5, 9, flat 3, flat 13, flat 7, 11 on top. So I'm going to call this a C minor 11, flat 13. Really interesting sound. Without that, we just get this classic voicing. But with it, we get this sound, which is really, really unique and interesting to me. All right, ready? I'm going to show you yet another interesting sound. Check this one out. So what makes this one so interesting to me is it's based on a major 6 chord. There's no major 7. So root position we'd have 1, 3, 5, 6, and then we're adding a sharp 11. Could add the 9 as well. So that's a really, really beautiful chord. A flat, major 6, sharp 11. And then I did this voicing. So we have 1, 6, 3, sharp 11, 9. Very, very pretty. Of course, we could actually add the 7, and now what happens? Really, really beautiful sound as well. And now, because we added the 7, the 6 becomes a 13. So this is actually A flat major 13, sharp 11. Another beautiful sound. And with that, I think I've given you quite a bit to chew on there. That is a lot of really, really pretty voicings. So I hope you really enjoyed that. If you did, please click the like button. And if you're new here, click subscribe. And of course, be sure to check out the Modern Piano Voicings Dictionary, where you can just find a wealth of beautiful sounds just like this. You will not need to look elsewhere again for new wonderful voicings to use. And also Harmony Magic, which I think you'll really enjoy because it takes those voicings and puts them into a gorgeous harmonic context of progressions and sequences and just exercises that you can use to really make your chord progressions sound so much more beautiful, so much more magical, in my opinion. If you're interested, the links to those are in the description, and I really appreciate your support. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.